Welcome back, everybody. Today we are shifting gears. Last week was a little emotionally charged. This week is still a little emotionally charged, but for good reason. We're going to be talking about basically working hard to get where you're going, and the process it takes to achieve your goals, and why I guess sometimes people don't really realize how much effort goes into building something that is bigger than your average 9 to 5. So I'm really excited about this. Maria and I have been talking about this on and off through the week as we've both been trying to keep up with recording and editing and posting content, and it is kicking my ass.
It's
and
okay. It's kicking my ass too.
yeah, and so we are acknowledging the rise in numbers, and we just had a really good conversation about it. So I'm going to let Maria start.
All right. Hey guys, how is everybody doing? Yeah, Heather and I were talking about working and consistency and not growing. Now, I've had my channel for I want to say a year and a half now. And it's like it's growing now, but it's nowhere near what it probably should be, because I did not post consistently. I took multiple months off, um, because honestly, I wasn't treating it like a job. I was treating it more like a hobby, and I wasn't planning my stuff out. I was just kind of filming and doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've actually started planning stuff out, I am taking older videos and editing those, but now that I'm actually planning stuff out and making a point to have like a good flow in my week, and like having certain days for editing, having certain days for makeup content, and having certain days for filming. I now have my week is going a lot smoother. I don't feel like I have to, oh God, I have to do this. I just know that if I don't work, then I'm not going to see progress. And that's pretty much the gist of it. This past couple of weeks, I started uploading more frequently. I uploaded 3 times a week last week. This week's only going to be 2 because I didn't edit on Sunday. So I'm just going to start giving myself the weekends off and just edit Monday's video on the week before. But I've had the most views last week than I have probably ever on. And my channel has new subscribers every day, so things are going really well. But the point that I'm trying to kind of point out is that if you think that you're going to start this and you're going to like immediately get subscribers and this and that really doesn't happen. It happens. It's an anomaly though.
Yeah.
It does happen, but it takes a lot of work in the beforehand. A lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people end up quitting because they don't want to work that hard.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes. I think the thing that I read said that like you should have at least 2 weeks backed up just in case, which I think is smart. I was actually like when I first started doing like my YouTube and stuff, I had recorded a bunch of videos back to back to back, and Justin was like, you don't have to post every day. And I was like, I'm not posting every day. I'm recording so that I have content. Like, I understand why it would feel that way. If you're recording every day, you probably think someone's doing it all in one day, but that's not how it works. And so I was telling him, like, I'm recording so that I have the content and then a bunch of shit happened, and I had content backed up when that shit went down, and I was able to continue to post. But then with all the changes in my life, it caught up to me. And so, like, I've told Maria, like, I myself am struggling. And so part of one of my goals moving forward is to, for like a couple weeks a month, just bang out videos as far as like recording them, and then take a couple days a week to edit a bunch. That way they're just all ready to go, and have them like scheduled to go for the next couple weeks to come. And that way, if you do need a mental health break, or if you do need to just like have a day to chill, you have that, and you're not like, oh my God, but like Maria was saying, you don't get in the, oh, but I have to, because then you start to not like it anymore. And Maria and I have like different scenarios too, where like Maria stays home, and then I'm like working kind of part-time right now because like coronavirus and everything, and I'm in a salon, and like we have to stagger shifts and shit. So like this is something I didn't even think about, honestly, was that I could be making even more content at my job because it pertains to what I put, on the internet. So I'm thinking about starting to do that soon, where I take my tripod into work with me, and I'm recording as I go, and like, going through the process. And that's another thing that I think is important when you start a channel. Figure out what it is you want to focus on. Like Maria was saying, right now she's uploading 2 to 3 times a week. In the beginning, you have to. People don't get that either. Like, they're like, well, most YouTubers only post once a week. Yeah, because they have millions and hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers. So, like, they can. But in the beginning, you have to have more content to have more likelihood of it reaching somebody. My thought process just, like, jumbled really fast. But knowing what you
want. Well, and also don't post just to post.
No, don't do that. No. My thing was, and this is why I love Gary Vee. Gary Vee is my homie, low key. He doesn't know it yet, but he is so big about, first of all, making content that is transferable. So if I make content for YouTube, I can also put it on my TikTok, and I can also put it on my Twitter, and I can also put it on my Instagram. So if I make a 30-minute makeup video for YouTube, I can cut that into even smaller pieces and put it on my IGTV. And if I want to cut it even into smaller pieces, or record a TikTok video while I'm going through and doing like cool transitions, like make sure that you have things that translate to all platforms. And that also will like reduce your stress in making sure that you constantly have content for every platform. It is a full-time job though. And I remember when I was, even just recently, like, Mike and I've talked about this. I went through this with Justin. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, it's a whole thing, so we're not going to get into that this episode. But I know there's a lot of male names coming out of my mouth. But, I've had the conversation with everybody about, like, Heather, you are always in your phone. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not, like, aimlessly scrolling through stuff. You know what I mean? And then there's a difference in, like, you need to decide how you're going to spend your time. Are you going to spend your time watching shit because it's there? Are you going to spend your time scrolling through shit because it's there? Or are you going to watch a YouTube video to study it? Are you going to put in your headphones and listen to a book that's going to help you grow? Are you going to scroll through Instagram looking at the angles and whatever, like what equipment people are using, etc., to better your content, right? Because for me as a hairstylist, I'm always looking at how people do their shit. I'm always looking at other hair pictures because I want my shit to be better than theirs, because I want to stand out. Maybe not even better than theirs. I want it to be different because I want it to stand out. And right now, I feel like I have a very white girl generic, like, the way that I take my pictures, which is fine, but you have to pay attention. So it is a full-time job. It's a full-time job of taking in information, studying. You have to be creative enough to come up with the content yourself, editing, like everything. And that's the thing is like when you're like Maria or I in the beginning, it's balls to the wall. There's no one doing it for you. These big YouTubers have people fucking shooting their shit for them. We don't have that. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's what I do. I get up in the morning. I have my routine. I get up in the morning, and it's usually like at 6 o'clock, and that's when my husband gets up, and so I make him tea and I put it in his car, and he goes, and then I'll what I'll do is I'll have my coffee with my breakfast, and I will sit in my room and watch YouTube with a pen and paper and get ideas. I look to see what's trending. I look to see what people are watching. I look at my analytics and see what videos are doing better than others. Because then, hey, maybe I want to do a series out of that, or something. And then I also think about like I'm getting ready to start changing a little bit of my channel, because I do want to do a series, but it's more of a series of like a mindset series. So I want to do like different types of things, and have things that I can like interact with people. Start doing like a question of the day, or asking something and say, hey, give me your thoughts down below. Get my audience engaged, and try to get over the camera fright, because I was doing fine up until like last week, and now when I film, I'm just like stuttering.
What?
But
why?
I have no idea. But getting people engaged, because that's, I want people to see who I am. I don't want them to just come over, watch a video and that's it. I want them to know who I am and what I stand for, and things like that, so we can build our own little community.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm trying. Now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do and figure out what I can do for like each part of the series and things like that. So.
I like that. I think too, like what Maria's saying. So like when I made my YouTube, I broke my YouTube up into like mental health / mindful, like basically like mental stuff Mondays, and then Wednesday's supposed to be more of like a lifestyle video, and then Fridays are supposed to be designated to beauty, right? But I never have a plan, which is my downfall. Always. Everything is always spontaneous. Nothing is ever planned. So what I like are these motherfuckers right here. They're whiteboards. I know you can't see it when you're listening, but for those on YouTube, oh, I have my little let that shit go Rafiki down here. Whiteboards are great. Obviously mine's super clean because I just got it from my old house. But my goal, which I'm going to do when I get off of here, is to sit and write, like you were saying, get ideas. And some people do better with like, they do better on a computer. They do better with pen and paper. I love having something big that's right in front of me. Some people do like Post-it notes, like whatever, but whatever works for you. Making a plan is the best thing you can do. Like, it's so funny because I love goal setting, which is making a plan, but I don't like making a plan in like that regard. But then I get really stressed when time comes and I'm like, fuck, I have to record something. And like the other day, I told Maria, I sat down and I was like, I just did a mental health video because I was supposed to put out a mental health video today. Today's Monday when we're recording. And I was supposed to put out a mental health video today. And I was like, I hate it. And she was like, why? And I was like, I just hate it. I don't like it. And I deleted the entire thing. And it was like a 30-minute long video. And it was actually, the subject was good. And I think that I have valuable information to give. I wasn't honestly prepared. Like, I genuinely just didn't have any type of plan of attack going into it. So this is what we mean when we say it is a full-time job. Like, you can't half-ass it. If you half-ass it, your content's going to be shitty. And something that, you know, Gary Vee talks about is, I always worry about like the quality, like when you look at it, right? And Gary Vee's always like, fuck that. The message should be more important than all the snazzy lighting and the camera work, because if you're only getting followers due to the quality of the camera you're using, that's stupid. Like, people should follow you for your message and for whatever value that you're giving them. And so I record all my videos on my iPhone. I have a ring light and I use my natural light. And that's pretty much it. And I'm not mad about it, because that's what I have to work with. And I'm trying to get better about being less self-conscious about it.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You start with what you have, and later on, as you grow, you can upgrade things. I mean, I have the lowest, well, my camera is great, but I have like the lowest quality lighting. My microphone is higher quality because I was using it for Facebook Lives. But you know, the rest of my stuff is not as great quality. Now my makeup stuff is, just because that's I'm spoiled.
No, you're not. What are you talking about?
So but the rest of the stuff, like my office is not finished. So I'm gonna give an office tour, but it's like not finished. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to get done. And plus, later on, what I want to do is get one of those like portable buildings and create that into my office and make that into my office. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, but I don't have to do everything right now before I can start uploading content. You know, you do with what you have. I can upload content now, but if you are going around making an excuse that that the only reason why you're not making content is because I don't have this, I don't have that. Dude, some people started out on their phones. Like Samantha March, she started out on her phone before she got a camera.
Right.
You know, you need to stop making excuses, because that's really all that it is. It's an excuse.
Well, I think too, like, a lot of people, I don't want to like generalize a group, because I always want to say like my generation and younger, but I think it's just people in general. They see something and they're like, oh, I have to start out like that. Like, I have to do it that way. And you really don't. It's interesting, like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, you do have this, like, I mean, I did have this, like, sense of, I don't know, like, what word I'm looking for. I was really uncomfortable with the fact that, like, my shit, I'm also kind of an overachiever sometimes. But, like, the fact that my shit wasn't, like, up to par. And Maria and I were talking about this week, and we were talking about people, the difference between people who have kind of always had things handed to them, and then the people who've always worked hard for things, and how my generation is very much a participation trophy generation, and how I never wanted just a participation trophy.
Oh yeah, I called her an anomaly.
Well, because, and I do see it. I see it in my friends too. A lot of the time, like, I have friends who will say, well, this is my passion, but there's not room for that in the world, or like, that's, you know, that's not the world we live in, or what. And I'm like, bullshit. You don't want to do the work that goes into the art that you're interested in. It's not that the world doesn't see art anymore. They see it differently. Okay. And like, you have to, any type of art, whether it's content creation, photography, videography, and when I say videography, I don't mean like this type of video. I mean like going and like doing, okay, sorry, it cut out for a second.
It cut out because Maria was an idiot.
I was just saying that oh, hold on. Actually, we're going to take a break for a second. I got to go potty real quick. Oh, shit. Hold
okay,
on.
well, I'll explain what I did. You see, when we are doing this podcast, I am one of those people that can't sit still. I've got ADD. I've passed it on to my child, and so I have to always be moving. And so I was cleaning up because I'm going to do I'm going to do a video here in a moment of my office space, and so I'm starting to like clean everything. Not like I'm not paying attention. I always pay attention to Heather, but I was cleaning my office space so I could get ready for that. And I'm wearing the Beats Pro wireless, and I accidentally hit the button on it.
Anyways, I was just saying, like, if you have an art that you're trying to get into, it's work. If you want a job that is not a 9 to 5, number one, it's going to start as a side hustle. And when I say side hustle, I mean you need to be putting in at least an extra 15 to 20 hours a week. Okay? And if you break that down, I mean, that's 3 to 4 hours a day if you only do it 5 days a week, unless you cram it into your weekends. If you are in a career that you love, right, and you want to expand that, you still have to put in the extra work and time. And I've talked, this was the issue that I had with, just people in the past being like, you're in your phone all the time. I'm making content. I am marketing myself. I'm boosting posts and making videos that look nice, that people want to come to me and give me their money. Okay. Like, you have to sit down and put in the time to do the work. And so what Maria and I were talking about like the participation trophies and everything, is that when I was a kid, I was an athlete, and I did not just want the trophy that said, hey, you showed up this season, good job. I wanted the trophy that said MVP on it. I wanted the trophy that said I was the best at something, and you better fucking believe that I got it. Like, my parents will tell you, I always came home with the big trophies. I always busted my ass on a team, and that meant that I had to be a killer fucking team player, and I had to play my position well. It wasn't just about playing your position well. It was about pulling the team together and not... you get what I'm saying. I'm getting my words all tangled. Okay, and then when I was in school, if I got something lower than a B, I came home crying. There was only one time I didn't get honor roll, and I came home and I bawled my fucking eyes out. And it's because I hated fucking science fair projects. My dad did my science fair project every year. Like, I waited till the last minute, and then he would help me the night before, and we had to put together the 3-panel fucking board overnight because I hated the science fair project. It was the only thing I was not an overachiever with. But I always had either principal's honor roll or honor roll. In my school, we also had student of the month. People got mad at me for how often I was student of the month, because that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to get the best grades. I wanted to be the nicest one in the class. I wanted to be the one who was participating all the time. I wanted to be the one who just did the most. And so, we talked about how, like, a lot of people in my generation have been handed a lot, and and how much it bothers me. Maria knows how much it bothers me. And I just was not raised that way. And so, like, but when you are raised that way, in my opinion, you don't try as hard because you never really had to, right? When I was in high school, my parents were like, okay, you want your own cell phone? You have to pay the bill. Like, go get a job. And, like, it wasn't shitty. I was at the end of high school, and that there's no excuse as to why I couldn't have a job. When I got my first car, my stepmom helped me buy my car, and then I had to pay her back monthly, like a regular car payment. When I got a computer for college, my stepmom's work financed my computer for me, and I had to pay that bill every month. So it's not like my parents did shit and held it over my head. They were just like, if I help you, you're going to put the work in. And one of the best things my parents did for me was when I made the decision to place my oldest daughter for adoption, they made me help myself. And they said, well, you have to go to therapy because this is going to be a really emotionally fucked up thing. You can't get through it by yourself. And I'm really grateful that they made me do that, because along with all the other experiences that I had of, like, having to earn things and having to work for things, and my parents not just handing me shit all the time, Then I learned how to work on myself, for myself, by myself. And so, like, when you combine those two things, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, you're fucking unstoppable. My stepmom to this day always tells me, like, when you put your mind to something, nothing stops you. Like, you are a force to be reckoned with. And she's right. Like, I'm just like that. And I think that's important. And I don't really know how. I remember when I started dating Mike. Mike is my daughter's father. Okay. When I started dating Mike, his family is very supportive. He was talking to me about how, like, he never had to work in college. He played paintball professionally, and his parents helped him with a lot of things, with debt and with furniture and with this, that, and the third, and cars and all these things. And I'm not used to that. And you can ask him. He's in the next room. I looked at him and I was like, okay, but, like, what do they want? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, no one just does this. Like, there has to be something.
A lot of people do now. But that's how my kids are the same way. They work for everything.
You have
and I
to.
told them, I said, we will, when you start learning how to drive, they're going to end up, like I say, well, I'm going to get a new car. They're going to end up having my Chrysler. And, okay, you're going to pay for gas and you are going to pay for the insurance, because I'm sure as hell I'm not going to pay for that. So, and they were, my son was like, damn, but now, I mean, it's second nature now. They know that if they want something, they've got to earn it. That's just the way that we are. That's the way I was raised. And I worked for everything that I had. I mean, I was in a full-time job by the time I was 21. I was 20 when I got my first full-time job, and I was supporting myself.
Yep.
So, you got to put the effort in. And, there's another thing when you were sitting there talking and you're talking about, putting your all in it. Believe it or not, guys, I didn't start getting into makeup or wearing makeup until like 3 or 4 years ago, right before I met Heather. That's when I started really getting into it, and I knew crap about it. I mean, you should see some of my earlier pictures. I knew crap about it, and I'm self-taught. I worked my ass off. I would come home every day or I'm done with dinner or whatever, or I'd get up during the day and I'd be talking to Heather, and I would sit there and practice my technique and practice it every single day. And you can see my progression from when, Heather and I first started talking to now.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm starting to get into, like, the more detailed things, the more, artistic stuff. But before, I didn't know shit. But what did I do? I practiced. And I did it, one, because it calms me. It's kind of like my outlet. Just to come up with something, just to do something with color and what you can do. You can, like, change your entire face just by using makeup, and I love it. But I practiced, and when I hear people like, I can't afford to go to school, or I can't do this, I'm like, you don't have to. You can sit there and figure out how to do it, or look at a YouTube video, or, there's a bunch of people on Instagram that you can watch, and they have, like, little 1-minute clips, or they have IGTV videos on what they do and how they do things and stuff like that, and then just practice it.
Right.
You're not going to get it the first time, but if you practice it and you start learning about face shapes, and what works on somebody else may not work on you, but you tailor it to the way that it look good on your face. because I hear so many people like, I can't do a cut crease. I have hooded eyes. Girl, I have you can't see my eyelid when I'm looking at you, but I still do cut crease. I do double cut creases. And I do very intricate details and stuff, but if you notice, a lot of the time the pictures that I take up close, my eyes are pretty much closed, because if I were to look at you, you wouldn't be able to see it. So once you start learning how to do things for your eye shape and, you know, all of that, then you're going to eventually start doing that. And then you can start, you know, if that's a career you want to go, you can start advertising yourself and, you know, marketing yourself, get a YouTube, do Instagram, do, you know, go to, you know, do a podcast, start teaching on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
start doing lives and teaching on Facebook. You could also do YouTube lives, but they don't get as much traction as Instagram and Facebook. But, you know, start doing all of that, and you can start getting your name out there and just practice and start doing the detailed skill work and all of that. So this is what I can do, but I can also do simple and easy, you know, just simple everyday look. I don't do that very often because I always feel the need.
Maria said she was going to do something simple today for those who are on YouTube. She goes, you're always done before me. I said, yeah, because I just blend shit together.
Yeah, I'm going to do something simple, and it ends up being this thing. Because I remember, you know, your mom had sent me that picture. So, I mean, that's what you have to do. You don't, you know, and also another thing, my husband didn't have anything handed to him. Nothing. He didn't even graduate high school. Now, he got his GED eventually, but he didn't even graduate high school because he didn't. He always says he's not book smart, but he learns. He learned a trade, and now he's at a large company, a regional manager at a very large company, and makes decent money to where I can stay home. So, you know, whatever, you know, anything, don't listen to that, but listen to people saying you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. But the one thing that you do need to pay attention to is the fact that if you want it bad enough, you need to do the work.
Yes.
And I guess that's my point of my ranting today.
No, it's so fucking real though. Like, you can't just expect followers and monetization and to just come to you. Like, it takes so much work. Like, legit, you gotta think, right? So Maria and I both do this. Maria started her page before I did. I was more focused on like school, and then cosmetology school and hair. But we've both been like in the marketing of ourselves for quite some time. And you got to think, when you do a YouTube video, you record, you edit, you have to make your descriptions, which sometimes are very detailed, and sometimes you have to cite sources, and sometimes you have to look up product knowledge and all this other shit. You also have to make your thumbnails for those videos. You have to invest in good editing software. You have to invest in lighting. Like earlier I was saying, like, oh, I'm worried about quality. I'm not worried about having like a nice ass camera, but I at least need decent lighting. And like the only way that you can really get around that is if you record all of your videos in front of a window in the middle of the day.
Natural light, yeah.
Yeah, I think like the bare minimum for recording is having lighting. Like, that's bare minimum for, in my opinion. So like, you don't need a whole setup, but just like get yourself a cheap ass ring light. Even if you use your cell phone and you get one of those lights that clips on your phone. That's better than nothing, right? And those things are like $5.
The one that I had, actually, this is the tripod. This is for those of you on YouTube. This is a tripod to this. I use this as my my tripod when Heather and I do lives and stuff.
Mhm.
And then I have this, and this is the little one for your phone. And this
Okay.
goes on the tripod, and then you have your thing, and you put your phone right there. So then you have a really decent ring light. But this was what, $30, $25,
Yo,
$30.
I didn't even have a fucking tripod. I stole Maria's because night bulb. I didn't have one before that either. Like I stole Maria's. I was literally just placing my phone in places. It is a process, but the thing is, like, you have to put the work in and you have to trust yourself. You have to trust the process. You have to understand it's not going to happen overnight. Like, I was, with quarantine and everything, everybody gets stressed, right? And so, like, we're coming to the end of quarantine. It was a week before I would start working, and Justin and I kind of got into it about the fact, like, I wasn't working. I couldn't help it. And again, it's stress, right? And it's like, oh my God, like bills are coming, there's no money coming in, whatever. And he made a comment about how I had this idea that, I was gonna make all this money with YouTube overnight. And I was like, no, I never thought that. Like I never thought I was gonna start posting videos and then have an income from it within a month. Like I never thought that. And this is why we talk about putting the hard work in and also being realistic. Like you have to set realistic goals. I told him, I said, at the soonest, and like that's if I fucking grind it the fuck out. I don't expect to be making money for at least minimum a year. At least, if not a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, so yes, YouTube will monetize you after a certain point. You have to meet a certain criteria. It starts out small and it gets bigger as you get more popular. But the other thing that comes along with it, and it comes along with anything if you're across platforms, brands will seek you out and you can start getting brand deals and you can start getting PR. A lot of makeup artists don't get paid from makeup companies. They get sent free makeup. Like that's the payment. They get put on a PR list. Or skincare companies or whatever the case may be, or like you might have someone want to sponsor your podcast. And that's another reason why it's so important to have yourself on so many different platforms, because the more places someone can discover you, the better off you are. So like what if, right, someone listens to our podcast, they don't watch our YouTube videos, they don't know about our TikToks or Instagrams or Facebooks or nothing like that, but they stumble across this podcast today and they have a company that they want to put a sponsored ad in, right? And they come across this and they go, oh, you have a podcast, cool, I want to put an ad in your podcast. Oh wait, you're on YouTube too? Well, when you hit this goal, I want to put an ad in your YouTube video and pay you from it. And it's like the more targets you put out, the more likely someone is to hit it. You know what I'm saying? And so like even on TikTok and stuff, TikTok will fucking shadow ban all of my self-promotion content, and I don't even fucking care, but I still put it out there, and I'm like, there's a YouTube video coming out. Please follow my Instagram. I'm doing a giveaway. Because even if 100 people see it from a different platform, that's 100 more people seeing it who wouldn't have seen it otherwise. And that's the shit that nobody like you really don't think about. And people like, I've heard people say, well, I just don't really do. What are you doing?
Looking for that powder, shaky powder.
The what?
The powder.
It's not in here.
Oh.
I think it's in I don't know where it is. It's wherever you used it last. I don't use it. Fuck.
You were saying people don't think about that, being in multiple places. And not only that,
Yeah.
people don't think about, you do a video, and that's what I do. I have a paid thing for PicMonkey, and so I can get any of my pictures on my phone, on my computer, whatnot. So I'll get it on my phone, I'll download it, and I have another thing called No Crop,
I'll do it after I
and
clean up.
it makes the picture Instagram friendly. So that's why I can get my entire thumbnail for an Instagram friendly post, and then I post it up there. Okay, hey, new videos out. Link in my bio. Also, Heather and I both have it whenever because I'm the one that edits the podcast. I'm the one that uploads the podcast. I'm the one that does the show notes and all of that. Both Heather and I have all of our social media linked there. We have our YouTubes linked there. We have our YouTube for the podcast, and then on the YouTube podcast, we have all of our links there too. And then on my YouTube, I have a link for all of my social medias and the podcast. So you've got to be taking that and putting it in all of those places, because not everybody is going to be following you on every platform. Some people just use Facebook. Facebook. Some people don't even have a Facebook. You've got to remember, you've got to start putting, letting people know where they can find you. Because, hey, you may find you and they may like, hey, I like your stuff, or I like your personality. And then, oh, she has an Instagram. Oh, she has a podcast. And, that way they can see or listen to me rant even more about shit. So, right. You don't think about that stuff. And not only that, I never used my Twitter. Like, never. I use it to stalk my favorite celebrities or see what Heather is posting. But I started using it for I have this thing where as soon as a video goes live, it posts to my Twitter, and then it will immediately update my bio in my Twitter to have a link for the latest video.
Oh my God, that saves so much time.
It does. I think you did.
You did. I need to download it. I'm going to look at it now. I'm going to download it now while we're talking about it.
So, yeah, I mean, just little things like that. And I have seen my subscribers, my watch time grow. I mean, I'm still at like next nothing because I wasn't taking this thing seriously until about a couple of weeks ago, but I'm actually seeing growth, and that is the whole purpose. You want to see growth.
Well, and like I really, you have to have a good support system. Yes. I'm not like talking shit. I'm not, because I know he listens to my podcasts and stuff. But I've had the conversation before. And it's not a shit talking thing. It's just people have different preferences, but you have to understand what your preference will or won't do for you. Right. And so, when I'm really heavy into everything, Justin would tell me like, I'm not like into social media. I just don't do social media. And I'm like, I get you, like I hear you. But especially in my business is word of mouth, and it's social media. It's all visual. Hair, visual. Makeup, visual. You have to have something, even if it's just an Instagram page that links to Facebook. You have to have something, because what people don't understand is like, yes, it's word of mouth, right? But when you have the word of mouth, let's say I go on community pages all the time, and I'll say, oh, I have availability. So let's say someone's posting a community page and says, I want to get my hair done. I need the best hairstylist in Raleigh. And someone says, ooh, go to Heather, which happens. Okay. And then they say, well, I want to see her work. Well, if I don't have my work anywhere,
You're not
If I
going to get that client.
Right, I'm not gonna get that client because they don't even know what I can do. Okay, or maybe some people, or maybe someone says, that the personality of the person that they're working with is important. And if you go to my Instagram, there's a link to my YouTube videos, or if you go to my Instagram, I'm heavy on I haven't been, but I usually am heavy on my Instagram stories, because that's the thing is, like, you need to be connecting with whoever comes across your page. So, like, I can hashtag all the Raleigh local hashtags and surrounding area hashtags in my pictures, but what fucking good does that do if someone comes to my bio? There's nothing appealing about my bio. You can't tell what my personality is like. I have no stories up. I have no information about where I work or what I do or how I do it or whatever. And all you see is a few pictures that you might like, but you're like, eh. And that's the thing is, like, people are using social media to shop for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
For their services, for brands that they connect with, legitimately fucking everything. So even if you have a good product, if you don't have any personality, you don't have any information, you don't have other things for people to view, you're really pigeonholing yourself, and you're really putting yourself in the spot of, like, well, I hope that they like me. And that's the other thing people don't understand about using so many different platforms, right? So, like, as you start building on different platforms and people begin to connect with you, people then want to support you. And when people want to support you, you can do things like make merch. And you can do things like support brands and make money from that. Because I can tell you, I have bought eyelashes from people simply because they get a fucking amount from the goddamn sale. Like, or I've bought t-shirts because I know that it's a locally owned whatever and I like the person who owns it. Like, do I need that t-shirt? No. But I want to buy it because I want to support you, because I like what you put out. I like your vibe. You know what I'm saying? And, like, so many people are like that. So, when you go into this, you have to understand, not only, it's really interesting because I'm always saying, like, and my dad and I had a good talk about this, was like, I told him, I said, people don't understand that, like, when you're trying to build something that's bigger than your 9 to 5, you got to hustle and you got to put the work in so that later you don't have to put as much work in. And that's the whole thing is, like, you got to hustle and you have to be on your grind 24 fucking 7 until you get to where you want to be. And then what happens is, it's not even that you don't work as hard. It's that you have become accustomed to the amount of work that you're putting in, and now you're just shifting focus. So instead of sitting here and going, okay, I have to make so much content all week long and edit, right? That's when you take a step back and you see YouTubers who are now making one video a week, but they're still recording a podcast, and now they're coming out with merch, or they're making their own products. So the focus just shifts. And in my opinion, what that means is that I worked my ass off as something I genuinely liked and built it up so that I hit a point that I could focus on what I love. And that's what it's all about. I love everything cosmetology related. I love mental health. I love all that shit. But if I have to grind and put out fucking 5 videos a week and do 12 podcasts and I have to work my day job and be a mom and do all those things so that later I can, like, make merch and work with brands that I love, and I don't know, start something that's bigger than me. Maybe it's you start a nonprofit for something to do with mental health. Maybe it's you start your own company, teaching makeup. We were talking about that earlier, how Marie and I both have these ideas for, like, one-on-ones and Zoom calls and shit like that. Whatever it is that the bigger picture is, you have to put in all that extra work in the beginning to get to a point to where the work shifts. So I think that also with that shift comes delegation, where in the beginning you're really stuck by yourself. It really is a one-man fucking nonstop job. And as you kind of grow into things, companies make your merch for you. You work with companies to make products. You work with other people to create something bigger. But you have to know that, number 1, it's exhausting. Number 2, you will get burnt the fuck out. But if you stop, you have to start over. And people don't realize that. It's a momentum thing, and if you don't keep the momentum going and you stop, then you have to you might as well fucking start from scratch. Like, you have to rebuild it, and that's hard. So it's like every time, I don't know if you've ever seen that visual. I see it all the time. But if you've ever seen that visual, it's like a cartoon of a guy who's like picking away at rock, right? And he's like mining, and he's like defeated and he's just tired. And the next image is like this much more wall left, and it says to keep going, and on the other side is that like all the shit that he's trying to get you. And that's really how it is. Like, when you feel exhausted, you feel like your back is against the wall, you feel like you're ready to give up, you feel like you can't do it anymore. If you just push past that point, you'll be fine. Take your mental health day. Take your time to, meditate, breathe. That's fine, but don't stop. Does that make sense? And I think that's something that people don't take into account either. I work fucking hard. Lately I've been a little lazy. I'm not gonna lie. I can admit that. But I'm working harder than I was before, and I know that. But like, in those, we talked about scheduling. We talked about planning. Plan your mental health days. Plan your downtime. Plan to play video games for fucking a couple hours. Plan to fucking take a bubble bath. Plan time for yourself so that you don't get so exhausted that you're just like, oh my God, I'm gonna pass out where I'm sitting. You still have to take care of yourself in the process. And Maria and I both are, we talk about how we're really heavy about, what we love, but part of what we love is mental health and taking care of yourself. And you have to take that into account, or you're not going to make it. That was a lot. Hello.
No, you're right. I mean, and she is one thing that she said that kind of stood out to me is the whole, if you quit, you might as well just start over type thing, because it's exactly what I did. Exactly what I did. You've got to take into account how much do you want this? How much do you want it just to be easy for you? Which I swear nothing in life is easy, okay? Unless you are a trust fund kid. Do you want it to be easy, or are you really, really passionate about it? Or do you just want to get into it just to be rich and famous?
Yep.
Because you know what? Most of the YouTubers out there are not famous and don't make millions and millions of dollars. A lot of them make enough to live, and they're happy with that. And mainly they're doing it because they want to do it. Mm-hmm. So you've got to ask why you're in it.
Oh, if your goal is to have a lot of money, that's fine, but figure out where YouTube isn't the end all be all of making money. YouTube is the beginning of the funnel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you've got to have multiple income streams. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket. What happens if one day YouTube just suddenly goes away? It just goes away. What are you going to do then? I have the podcast. I have this. I plan on doing another little side business. I want to start doing like a video course. So I've got all of these ideas that I need to put into play, but I'm not going to just have one thing, because a lot of people say, with like you were talking about, I don't have a website yet, but I need to start one. You don't own your content on YouTube. Well, technically you do, but you don't. Mm-hmm. If they shut it down, yeah, maybe you'll have your videos on backup, but it can go away. It can go away at any time. But if you have a website that you yourself pay for, you can do anything with that. You have your blog, and people get monetized for blogs too. You can put your content, in a podcast or something like that. So, I mean, you own that content, you own that website, and that's yours. So you need to start thinking about it that way too.
I agree. It's daunting. But you know what? So is college for those who want to go to college for something. For those who wanted to be doctors and they wanted to be a professional fucking doctor, you go in and you do years and years and years, and you have to go through regular college and you have to go through med school and you have to grind the whole time. Anything that you want to do in life, it doesn't come easy. There's work behind it, and that's the thing that people really don't understand. We talk about instant gratification and how some generations are heavy on instant gratification and they don't want to work for it. But, nothing worth having comes easy, and that's a real thing. My brother right now, he works a full-time job and, has all his benefits and everything, and he just started his side hustle with something that he's really passionate about. And literally he gets off of his day job and then he goes and he does his Zoom meetings and he gets his information and he does his lives every week and he talks to everybody about what he's doing. And he every morning he's been waking up early and he's been putting in the time to work out, and he's started this group on Facebook that's all about positivity and self-improvement, and he posts in there every morning early as fuck in the morning, or he'll post on his personal Facebook. He posts on TikTok and Instagram. Like, he's everywhere. And my brother was never like that before, but when, like we're saying, like when you're passionate about something, you want to put the work in, and it's something that I never saw him doing. But it's funny, like I was over there and Christina, my sister-in-law, was like, hey, like I want to watch a movie with you or something, and he was like, well, I have a meeting. And she was like, okay, well, can you just like give me a schedule of your meetings so I know when to spend time with you? And he was like, yeah, sure. Like, she was being sarcastic, but he is so passionate about it. He was like, yeah, sure. Like, I have to put the work in. So yeah, I'll give you a schedule of my meetings. Like, you have to be prepared. So it's back to, my brother also has kids and a wife and a full-time job, and you still have to put the extra time in and the extra work in, and it is exhausting, and you take time away from other people. So it's a sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice worth making if you actually keep with it. If you only make that sacrifice when it's convenient to you, then it's going to be a waste of your time. End of story. Like, there's no point.
That's the truth. And you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
You're going to be miserable.
For
oh my
real.
gosh. Why? You have one life. Why do you want to be miserable? That's exactly, and that's something that the generation now has correct. Because, my generation, and if y'all don't know, I'm 41. Okay. I'm old.
No, I knew you were going to say that.
My generation, we were taught college or high school, college, get a job. High school, college, get a job. High school, college, get a job. Didn't matter what, but you gotta have a job. And my dad, it was preferably one that pays the bills. One that you can grow and whatnot. So what did I do? I got a job drafting. I was a designer before I started all of this. I was an electrical designer. Had I done what I wanted to, I would be in a completely different position. And I tell my kids that today. I said, I don't care what you do. Learn a trade. You don't have to go to college. I want you to learn at least a trade. I want you to be passionate about something. So when you start thinking about what you want to do in your life, and what you're passionate about and what you think that you will work your ass off just to be successful, do that. Mm-hmm. And you will become successful because you're passionate about it.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny that you say that, because my parents were raised on the idea of go to high school, go to college, have a career. And I went to high school and I graduated and I went to community college, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I knew I wanted to do hair, so I stopped going to school because I wanted to go to hair school, and I knew how much it costs, and I knew I couldn't do it until I hit a certain age or a certain situation because of, I had to have my parents on my fast one. My parents didn't want me going to hair school. Um, and they asked me, like, Heather, why'd you stop going to school? And I'll never forget this conversation. And we're driving home, and I remember which street we were on and everything. And I said, it's a waste of money. And they were like, what? And I said, well, if I'm just going to school to go to school, and I'm not going to school with the intention of finishing something, then I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting my money. And I have to pay that money back. And my dad was like, education is you can't put a price on that. Yeah, I get that. But if I want to learn about something that I genuinely want to learn about, there are libraries, there are resources online, like there are things I can, if they're just subjects I want to learn about, okay? And I said, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that your worth comes down to a piece of paper. I don't think that's what it is. And I said, I think that college is a waste of fucking time. And my stepmom got really upset, and she said, she said, my degree is a representation that I committed myself to something for 4 years and I finished it. And in that moment, I kind of felt like, that's sad. You have a successful marriage. You brought a child into this world. You've been at a job that, mind you, yeah, maybe you needed your degree to get, but her degree doesn't pertain to that job. But either way, like, you've proven that you're good at your job. You already worked in that field before you got, like, this. She worked within the same industry before she got into the job that she's had now for 20 plus years. And you think that that piece of paper holds more value than the family that you've raised and the marriage you've committed yourself to, the business that she's doing now. She started her own, my whole family is on their entrepreneurship, let me tell you. She started her own writing business, and it's taking off now, and she's been doing it for 2 years. And you know what, I think it's 2 years, and it's been hard for her. She's had times where she's like not getting clients and she feels defeated, but she kept going. And my thing is like, okay, you dedicated time to that and you're seeing results from it. You dedicated 4 years to a degree that you don't use. And I am not by any means talking shit about her. My point is, college is not the end all be all. I went to a trade school, and this is the difference in my opinion between trade school and college. I can go to college and I can get a 4-year degree in psychology, and I can get a job doing a lot of different shit simply because I have a degree. It doesn't matter what the degree is in, which is the fucked up part. I went to school specifically for my trade, and I was trained on my trade, and I did my trade every day, and I worked on it every day until I was able to be licensed. And now I do that trade every day. My education was specifically focused to what I do now. And from what I've come to understand, and with my experience in college, it was like the first couple of years were just like bullshit until you got into being more specific about what, like you're getting into the work that actually pertains to your degree. And my thing was, okay, I can go spend 4 years doing that, or I can spend 10 to 15 months really grinding hard on nothing but specific information without all the extra bullshit, pay less money, but do more hours of schooling, and I can have a certification and a job the moment I walk out the door. I left school, I took my test, I got my license. I had a job before I even graduated. Like, and that's the thing with trades. And that's why I think it's so fucked up to shit on trades. Like, I literally got my education, I walked out the door, I started my job, and by starting that job, I was able to start all of the content that I make now. Because I have that job, and because I have that certification, I have a license to tell you what to do and not to do with certain things. Like, I have the professional license to tell you, this is how, like, this is what you need to use on your hair. This is what you can use on your hair. These are different makeup techniques, da-da-da-da-da-da. Mind you, makeup's totally separate because you can do a lot of things with makeup, but it falls under my license is my point. There's a lot of shit that I can do with that. And that's, I don't know. I don't think that this idea of like, you have to go to college is fair. I think that, like Maria said, like, do a trade. Or like my dad's working on coding classes through Treehouse right now instead of going through college, because college is like so fucking expensive. He is working through Treehouse, which is free, and the shit that isn't free, he got scholarships for somehow. I don't know how, but there are programs through Treehouse that are not free that he got scholarships for, and he's doing it at home. Like, there is always a way to do what you love. You just have to figure out how to do it, and you have to be ready to go hard on it, no matter what it is, and no matter what going hard looks like.
Exactly. Well, not only that, think about this now, because there was so much emphasis on getting a college degree, that trades are having a hard time finding people, and they are paying a shit ton of money for it, for people that know what they're doing, because everybody's going to college, they're not learning a trade, and there's so many less people that they're having a hard time finding people. You can be a very specialized welder making 6 figures a year, more than that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because you actually know what you're doing. So why the hell would you sit there and shit on trades thinking that they're nothing? Blue collar work is very, very dignified work. It's a very good way to make a living. Very good way.
You shit on trades, but you get your highlights done every 6 weeks. You shit on trades, but you got to have somebody fix your car when it breaks. Like, you can't be like that. You can't, just because you put your time in differently doesn't mean that you worked harder, and it doesn't mean that someone else's work is insufficient, or that it's invalid, or that their passion in life is invalid. Or, you know, I hear like, oh, well, hair isn't a real career, because back in the day, hairdressers started out in their kitchen. The hair is not the same today as it was back in the day. Like, that's not, you know, the stay-at-home wife, you know, cutting all the kids' hair. That's not what it is. Like, this is a whole fucking multi-billion-dollar industry that comes along with constantly changing education between anything in cosmetology, hair, makeup, skin, whatever you want to look at. The industry is always changing, and there is an abundance of opportunity if you take it. You know, so I think it's shitty to look at somebody and say, well, you just do your makeup, or, well, you just, you know, spin wrenches under a car all day. Dude, like, every job is valuable, and everybody, you know, you can't invalidate people because it's not the direction that you would have taken or that you took. I think that's garbage. Exactly. Sorry,
and not everybody's meant for white collar work. Fuck, I wasn't meant for it. I hated it. I wasn't meant to be around people. I was meant to take orders from myself, because I just, no.
I knew. So I always waited tables, and I had one job where I had to sit at a desk. And I knew after that job that I was not I mean, I already knew I wanted to do hair, but I was like, you never know. Life will take you where it takes you. It was early 20s. And I was like, it'll be fine. I knew after that job that I was not meant to sit behind a desk. I had to be around people, and I had to be in an environment that was always changing. So, like, and an environment that's positive because of my own mental health issues. I can't be in negative scenarios because it fucks me up here. That's why even in my jobs now, like, no offense to the women I work with, they all seem really cool, and I'll talk to all of them. But, like, I'm still kind of standoffish, because I know when, where there's a lot of women, there's usually drama somewhere, and I'm like, oh, you guys are so great. And then I, like, retreat back into my hole.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
It's like for me, I have to be around people. I have to be doing something with my hands, and I have to have conversation. And then I have to go home and have my alone time. It's that extroverted introvert thing. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's not me. Me, I do fine being alone. I really do. And what's funny is, and everybody's noticed this, that I don't like going out. I get to the point where I don't like going out, and I'm just like, oh, I want to stay home. I've become a homebody. That's just how I am now, but it's because I've been a housewife for a while. So,
Fair.
but I'm still the bubbly person that everybody knows. I'm just not very outspoken. I've always been more of an introvert.
Yeah,
And a lot of people think that when they first meet me, think that I'm rude, because I don't talk much. But the thing is I don't talk much, and then I start talking. So, I mean, it just, that's the way that I am. But and that's another reason why I really don't do well in the corporate world. I'm just, and I wasn't making peanuts. I mean, I was making a good 5-figure income. I was making in the high 5 figures.
right.
So, and I wasn't happy. I was making everybody miserable. So now I'll cook dinner. I spend the days doing the stuff for my YouTube, doing the stuff for my social media, doing everything that I needed to get done, and then I deep clean on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always at night. That is always my husband's time. That's my
Yes.
husband's time, to where I I may scroll through social media, but 9 times out of 10, if you call me, text me, anything, I won't answer, because that is my time with my husband. And Heather even knows that. She'll text me, and I'll text her, and we'll have say a few things to each other. But after a while, if I don't respond, she knows why. Most of the
Right.
time it's because I'm playing video games with my husband.
Bye. You're funny.
So, I mean, that's how it is, but that's how it works. I mean, that's what works for us,
Right.
And I think we need to rename this podcast from what we were doing to finding your passion, because I think it just kind
Yeah.
of took a turn.
We kind of went that way. I mean,
It took
like,
a
we
turn
still
to-
definitely talked about the value of the hard work, but it also, I mean, I think the two are very much go hand in hand.
Oh yeah.
But I think that a lot of people think like, oh, well, if I'm passionate about something, it'll just show.
Oh no. No.
It'll
Yeah,
just be easy.
right. Yeah, I started becoming passionate about makeup whenever, 4 years ago. Was I good at it? No. I was not. And it's funny because my husband, now he's just like, I go, I look back on my old, makeup, and he goes, yeah, it was shitty. And I was like, oh, thanks. I thought you said you liked it. He goes, yeah, I liked it when I didn't know what shitty
What
makeup
you're
looked
capable
like.
of. Yeah.
Right. I look at you now, and the crap that you did before then did nothing compared to what you do now. So, and always learn. That's the thing. You always need to continue learning. I like earlier, I mean, like
Absolutely.
last week, I posted a completely blue look, and it was a vertical blue look that just, it started off dark and then it went light, because I wanted to work on my blending. I'm to the point where I want to start making the little tweaks and
Mhm.
getting my blending game on, and being able to do like the most intricate details, and starting to, draw things, and things like that. But you've got to practice it. So yeah, I did something basic, but I did something that requires a lot of blending, and it's a gradient. And in order to do that, and for it not to look like shit, like you just painted lines on your face, yes. Like
I
you
was
just
like,
painted
I want
lines.
to see. I've seen this.
Yeah, like you just painted lines on your face. It takes the technique, the skill to be able to do that. So practice it. I practiced cut creases for the longest time. Now it's all I ever do, just because I love doing them.
I, you know what? It's fine.
What?
I just like, I remember, and we were talking about this earlier, how like there's not always one way to do something. That might have been before we were recording. But I remember when I first started watching people do cut creases, I was watching people who had eye shapes that were different than mine, and I didn't take that into consideration. And so what they would do is they would, they put the makeup or the concealer on and they open their eye, and wherever it touches where the cut crease went. Well, when I do that, it goes like halfway, like almost to my eyebrow, because my eyes are very big. And so I didn't realize that I couldn't, that I didn't have to do
People with hooded
that.
eyes tend to do that. Yeah, people with
Yeah.
hooded eyes tend to do that. I don't do that anymore.
I didn't
I used
realize
to do it.
I didn't have to. And so I started just like, if you're on YouTube, you can see, I just started taking my brush and I literally just looked at where my crease was. Cause like I said, I have big eyes. Like I'm able to just look and go, oh, there it is. And I just started cutting it. And I remember the first time, this is going to sound so silly. So for this is a good moment for those of you who are trying to make content and get like weird about your content. I remember the first time I went to go do a cut crease, like the way I do it now, on a video, like a live video, I was so scared because I was like, oh my God, someone's going to tell me that I need to do the thing where I open my eye all the way and then it's like a whole thing. And no one said anything. I was so nervous. I was like, they're going to give me so much shit because it isn't how everybody else does it. And I don't, like the people I was watching, they did like very, like hard lines. And like, I like to do this like 2/3 cut crease because I like the depth in my corner. So I like blending the concealer out instead of going back and having to really blend the shadow out. It just kind of like eliminates a step for me. And again, I'm doing this and I'm forgetting that I'm the professional, right? And I'm like, oh my God, all these people are going to come for me and tell me how I'm fucking up. And no one says anything, man.
Yeah, there's not a right thing to do
No.
to do it. And I think, and that's going to be one of my videos is cut crease 2 ways, how I used to do it and how I do it now. Because I used to do the whole put it on there, look up and do it. But my cut creases ended up coming out not very sharp.
Mm-hmm.
To where now my cut creases are like really sharp because I do them completely different. I paint them on. Basically I'm faking my crease because I have hooded eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do it and I know where my cut crease is and I just do a line like that and it makes it very sharp. So there's not a right way or a wrong way to do things.
No. And don't get caught up in, well, I have to make what everyone else makes. If you make what everyone else makes, then you're a copy. You're not an original, right? So there's nothing that's standing out about you. So don't stress out about if you do something different. Don't stress out about if you use something different. Like, don't stress out about if your views on something or like whatever the fuck. Just like be yourself and enjoy what you're doing. I think that shows through more than anything else. Like, yeah, people want to come for whatever service you have to offer, whatever knowledge you have to give. But like people also come, they like seeing happy people who are happy with their lives and they're proud of who they are and they're in a, and like they're just happy. Like people like that. So keep that in mind. Like don't get miserable with your content because you're trying to keep up with, the next influencer, which I hate that fucking word.
Yeah, no. Well, and not only that, everybody has their own signature style. Not everybody's style is the same. Yeah, you can, copy people's looks and things like that. But you're going to have your own spin. It's not going to look exactly like that person. Because see, if somebody can easily look at my work and say, okay, Maria did that because this is the way she always does her cut creases, or this is what she always does. She always uses glitter on the cut crease, which I always do, unless I'm copying somebody else's look. I always do. I always put glitter somewhere. I'm always gonna have glitter on my face. So, because that's just who I am. So they can look at something that I did and said, oh, "Okay, I know who did that."
Mine is my wing.
So, mm-hmm.
Literally, like, that's the only question I mean, yeah, people are like, I want to know how you do your makeup, but aside from that, it's like, how do you do the wing? It's all we always know it's you because your wing. Or if I don't do the wing, they're like, why didn't you do it? Are you okay? I'm like, oh my God, I'm fine. Like, fucking, I just didn't feel like it today. But yeah,
try something different. Yeah.
it's always because my wing basically touches my eyebrow. Let's be honest. It's fine. But yeah, just like, I don't know. Find what you love and do it and work hard. Be prepared to work hard. The hard work will pay off. My thing is, like, would you rather put in the really hard work and be happy with what you're doing, or would you rather put in the really hard work for somebody else and hate your fucking job?
Yep.
I'm just saying. And don't be afraid to consult with people either. Maria and I, we have our own things and then we come together and do things, but like we bounce ideas off each other all the time. Find people in the community of whatever your passion is and bounce ideas off of them. Like there's nothing wrong with that, for real.
Dude, and also community over competition.
Oh, hell yeah.
It drives me crazy when people are like, "Oh, I'm not help you. I'm not gonna do this because, I want to be the go-to or the better person." And I'm like, dude, there's enough for everyone. It's just all in how you bring yourself into the work that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many videos and tutorials on makeup looks and palettes and things like that, but you watch people because you watch people that you relate to. And I was telling Heather about Raw Beauty Christie. She had 1 million subs, just hit 1 million subs, and she's like not your typical YouTuber. I mean, she's beautiful, but she's not have the body and the all of that. She makes fun of herself. She laughs. She cracks jokes. She's hilarious, and I love watching her. A lot of people say I'd watch you sit there read the telephone book. I don't care because she's relatable. She's hilarious, and you're always going to bring your own personality to whatever you do. So don't sit there and think you can't have friends, and surround yourself with people that lift you up. Okay, not people that just completely
hell yeah.
Because Heather and I, we take from each other's videos and things like that too. So I mean, it's not a problem.
Yep.
You gotta be happy for your friend, whether you're not there or not. I mean, Heather has you have almost 1,000 people on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I have 150. Did I say no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, congrats. That's great. I did make fun of myself, but
to be fair, Maria took her Instagram down and then restarted it.
Yeah, I completely restarted it. It was because I was going through some stuff, and he who may not be named really fucked me up. So I just completely took it down and started over. So
yeah,
and I don't regret it one bit. I just need to get back into the swing of things. But now I'm doing everything with much more passion, and I have a very, very interactive group of people. I may have a smaller group, but I have a very interactive group, which
That's
I had
good.
well over 500 followers on my last page. Barely got any comments on my pictures. Where now I actually have comments every day. So,
Yeah, I gotta start
you know,
following some of your people.
yeah, I like some of my people. I have what we are all in a WhatsApp group from because I'm a Patreon of Make Me Up Missa, and we all hang out, talk in there, and we kind of support each other's. We support each other's channels, and we make comments on their videos and things like that. And you know, it's a community. It's not I want to be better than you, so you gotta lift up your friends. Don't sit there and try to one up them, because that just leads you down to a miserable life.
I remember I was doing this thing where I was like acknowledging people that inspired me, like in my industry, and I would tag people who are local to me, and they were like, "Why would you do that?" Like they were mad. They were just like, "Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "Because you're my inspiration. You're not my competition. Like, we're different, and people will come to us for different reasons." And I will never forget, this girl was like, "Wow, you're going to be the change in this industry because no one else is going to do that." And she's never done that for me. She's never done it for anybody else. None of my friends do that. Like, I'm not only going to acknowledge big ass artists. Like, at the end of the day, like, I went to school alongside some of these girls and they're fucking killing it. And I want to acknowledge their growth, and I want to acknowledge how well they're doing because I am proud of them and they're my friends. You know?
Yep.
You should
I
be able
started
to do
doing a
that.
Follow Friday on my
Ooh.
Instagram stories. I started doing a Follow Friday last week. I mean, it just started last week, but you know, I'm gonna feature a new artist every week just because of the people that inspire me and
Yeah,
that
sure.
I love it and I get ideas from. And you know, because it's the makeup industry, everybody gets ideas from everyone.
Yeah.
Nothing's new anymore, you know.
No.
Everybody gets ideas from everybody, but so, you know, the people that inspire me and that I want to, you know, that I look up to, and I want to be as passionate as they are and as driven as they are. You know, I'll have them in my Instagram stories on Friday.
I like it.
I guess we should stop here because it's already an hour, and I don't know what the previous video was.
We have issues.
We do have issues, but the thing is when we're when we're passionate about something.
That's true. We do that thing.
You know. Yep. We tend to talk just like last week, which was almost an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I went in a little bit.
I loved it. I loved last week. That will probably forever be my favorite podcast. And I didn't talk very much in it, so.
Means I rambled for an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, I said it at the beginning. I was like, this is probably the only time you're going to hear me when I do the intro. So, you know, we're all passionate about different things. And that's why Heather and I have a podcast together, because we both we feed off of each other.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, we feed off of each other. And I love it. So.
Same.
All right, guys. How about you either, you know, send email or go to the podcast page, which we haven't been on in a while, and tell us about what you're passionate about and what you want.
Yeah, I'll make a post. I'll make a post and send it to us for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. You guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you next week.
Bye. Bye.